source. I'm Hills. That's Charlie Sheen. Let's get started. So here's a good question. Is now, I mean right now, halfway through 2012, finally a good time to buy? Well, I don't know what the future holds, but I think it just may be.
Why do we say this? Well, do you remember the saying, buy when there's blood in the streets?
By the way, Google that phrase. It has a really cool story behind it.
Well, that old saying basically means that the best time to buy is in the worst of the worst markets. And if you're a Mayan, a JP Morgan Chase employee, or live in Europe, then you're probably thinking we are in the worst of the worst.
But really, what gives? Why is now the best time to buy? Well, check this out. In the past 15 years, there's only been about 6 times when the global markets collectively perform this bad. Okay, I know that sounds like bad news, and it is, but check this out. In almost every case, the markets increased about 15 to 30% in the 6 months following the global market drop.
Now, does this mean that home prices will climb 15 to 30%? No. But it is a good indication that, historically speaking, the markets in general could increase, which typically sparks home buyers that are on the fence to jump off in fear of paying too much for their new home.
Now, we have another reason as to why we feel that now, just now, may be the time to buy. As most of you have seen, inventory is drying up.
Or is it?
Well, my personal take, and we can't really quantify this for you, and it's just hearsay, but my personal take, I think inventory is on hold from Fannie and Freddie and the banks because of the looming election.
Yep. Off the record, several asset managers have made the comment that REO inventory is on hold until after the election. I wonder why.
I wonder why.
Well, you think maybe they're trying to paint the picture that everything's hunky-dory and look at us, we fixed the foreclosure problem.
Yippee! Well, nonetheless, for whatever reason, inventory is dried up. Maybe it's only for 6 months or so, but it doesn't really matter. This, coupled with the reason that we just spoke about earlier, may spark a buying frenzy for the last half of 2012. Now, how long will that last? That we do not know.
Now let's couple that previous story with another story that you can share with your clients. Home affordability.
Now, I'm sure your team leaders and coaches have talked about this before and how it's a great graph to share and blah, blah, blah. But really, recently, just now, it's basically off the charts.
Now, if you've talked about this in the past, you may have been a bit premature because now, May of 2012, shows a home affordability index that trumps all others in recent history.
I mean, really, it's quite impressive when you take a look and realize that home affordability, it's doubled since 2007.
And it's the best it's been by a long shot since 1971.
Interesting note here, guys. Income is the primary factor, not price and availability, that determines housing affordability.
Yeah, and the most common approach to measure the affordability of housing has been to consider the percentage of income that a household spends on its housing expenditure.
So from that, we can deduct that the percentage of income that a household spends on housing expenditures is the most affordable it's been since Apollo 14 made its flight in 1971, or since the Hawk graduated high school.
Whatever, dude. Hey, another way to put this into perspective is this. In 1971, the average cost of a house was $25,000 and the average income was 10 grand. Average monthly rent, $150, and gas was only 40 cents a gallon. And the Datsun 1200 Sports Coupe was the it car to own.
So take that all into account, and now, May of 2012, not 1971, housing is more affordable. Now, that's something you may want to share on Facebook. See you guys next week. Hey, you know what else happened in 1971? Jim Morrison died, the first pocket calculator was released, Nixon was president, and they lowered the U.S. voting age to 18.
Dude, you seem to know an awful lot about 1971. For a guy who wasn't even born yet.
This guy. Hey, yeah, it's called the internet, Gary.